today, I just wanted to make a quick little video just to explain where you're coming in and what we're specifically working on. So anytime you come into the course, the very first thing I want you to look for is the schedule and the list of things that we're going to be accomplishing this week. You can always look ahead, but these specifically have due dates that identify for you where those assignments are actually due. So I'm first going to point off in the schedule, there is a blip. I forgot to change this one, so the dates are a little off. So this on Thursday is actually the 23rd, and this is the 24th. So this is a look at our 5-day week. So here's where I'd like you to come in, is on the Tuesday, because I think in going through all of the items that it's really important to get the information and then going forward, because even up until today, they're working on Unit 1, Activity 3. And I think it's a really easy one for you to come into. So anytime you come into the class, come look at the schedule. You can even look at the calendar and the due dates just to see what's going on. So there is something due today, and then tomorrow they're just reading through and starting to work on the next activity. So we know that we're going to start on Unit 1, Activity 3. We see the schedule. What I have posted here in the classroom, or sorry, in the news feed, is instructions for a specific activity. Usually the ones that need, there's something assigned, or you're put in groups, or there's an extra document or something that I want you to sort of look at, that I'm going to post usually about one specific assignment. So we're going to come back to this after we go through Unit 1, Activity 3. And the things we're working on are the discussion, the power of language. Now I will give you the heads up that this discussion is closed, but as I described to you before, any discussions that you've missed or that are closed, you can simply email me those discussion parts. And then hopefully we'll get you on track going here, and then you're going to work on this discussion. Hopefully you'll be able to post in the discussion and keep up with the rest of the group. So overall, there's 3 things that we're going to do. There's actually 2 things that we're going to do. 1 is a discussion, and 2 is this assignment illustrating language that I've put instructions right here. So let's go to Unit 1, Activity 3. And let's go through this. So I go to Content, Unit 1. Yours might look a little different than mine just because I have the view of the whole course. So what we're going to do in Unit 1, Activity 3 is we're going to start reading through, making notes on anything that's important to us or that we think is interesting or might help us. In this particular one, we're going to have a discussion a little bit lower down about this screenwriter, Kim Krizan. And there's some quotes here. There's some information here about Kim Krizan. So that's important to pay attention to. And then anytime you see this, the power of language, this is where our discussion is. So here's our discussion prompt. And again, the discussion is closed just because it was due on Wednesday. However, you can look at this prompt. It's based on these quotes by Kim Krizan, and you can reply via email to me just what you think or feel or respond to this prompt. So we're going to carry down. Anytime you see enrichment, that just means here's an extra video about something connected to the content, and you can go through resources. You can do any of those things, or you can just carry on. I treat content like a textbook, so there's lots of information. You can choose how far you want to go into this. If you want to make notes based on the content, you can do that in an ongoing document where we've called it the writer's document. Any of the activities or any of the starting ideas that you can record in your ongoing document online, obviously. So most students use a Google Doc, and they're making notes as to what these things are. Here's an activity that you can go through that we're just playing with words. So this one is a drag and drop. So 2 things that are connected to lethargic. So synonyms: lackadaisical, legalistic is not connected to that. Languid, yes. Awake is the opposite. So I'm going to go with this. And then you hit submit. And and then you can go on to the next words and play a little game just to see what words you know and what you can connect it to. Some more resources. We're going through more terms and definitions about language. There used to be an assignment about speeches, but I've taken it out. But I left this in just because the level of language that Martin Luther King Jr. had in his speech was incredible. So I've left that in there. There's an interactive activity there that you can go through. More videos, enrichment, and then we get to the other assignment. So the previous one was a discussion. You can hand in assignments past the due date. It simply records that it was past the due date. So let me go through this assignment, and this is the one that's posted to the news feed. So we'll read through the assignment, and then we'll go back to the news feed to see what pieces we need to have. So choosing what words to use is daunting. You're going to work with your classmates to do a comprehensive assignment where your teacher will assign you a literary or rhetorical device. So what you're going to do is develop a single slide poster or a document that contains, so you've been given a device, you're going to define it, you're going to find a written example from another author's writing. So that can be a song, a poem, a short story, an excerpt from a novel, whatever that might be that contains your definition or your device, sorry. And then last but not least, created or found image. So most people are going to Google image, typing in their device and then finding a picture. So you got to make sure you have those. And then you're also going to hand in your document a speech, poem, short story that exemplifies your choice in a paragraph. So you're going to find another excerpt and then you're going to talk about it here. Okay. So that's step 1 and 2, and you're going to hand that in. These are here so that you can hand them in within content. And there's another couple of pieces that you can hand them in through assignments, or you can even hand them in through the calendar. So first thing is we need to figure out what your literary device is. So let's go back to that course homepage. So the power of words, it talks about illustrating language. That's the assignment that we're working on. Your task will be to be given a literary poetic device. The list is below. So here is the Google slide. So in addition to putting it into a document, those two pieces in here, you're going to take part 1 and you're going to put it into a slideshow, which is a collaborative slideshow right here. And the reason I do this is so that you can actually see what other people did, what they connected it to. So I put in an example, but just so you know that other people, so here's the definition, here's an example, and then here's the picture in terms of finding those. And I see that most people are still working on this, or maybe they haven't seen this part, but there's a few people in here just so you can see the example. So let's look for your assigned device. So number 8, you're going to work on hyperbole. So hyperbole is really a good one. Actually, you should find lots of examples of those, and it should be one of the easier ones to do. So now that you know that you're doing hyperbole, let's go back to that assignment. And now we're looking at the assignment. So you're going to use hyperbole. You're going to look up the definition. You're going to come up with an example, and then you're going to find an image that represents hyperbole. Okay, so that's part 1 for this. When you have that developed, you're going to go back to that homepage and you're going to insert all that same information. You're just going to copy and paste and put it right into that slideshow. And the purpose of this is so that other people can see those devices and see how they're represented. So going back, you want to make sure that when you're handing in the document that you have part 1 and part 2 and that you're handing it into the Dropbox. All right, so that explains this week's activities. I hope that makes a bit of sense. The key part is definitely going through what's supposed to be due or what we're working on what day this week. And then everything else that I usually post in here has a connection to one of the activities. And typically group work and everything else is posted here in a Google Doc that you can link through there. Hope that helped. Let me know if you need more support, Andrea.